On the world news today, appeal court set aside Osun tribunal judgment in Adeleke. Court okays Atiku, Obi. Others request to serve petitions to Tinubu. CBN confirms evacuations of cash notes to DMBs. Nigeria Air to begin operations before May 29. And to sports, Super Falcons move up in latest FIFA ranking. You are watching the world news from BGI TV Current. For more updates on YouTube, the handle is BGI TV Current. So as you can subscribe and click on the notification bell, select option all to access our broadcast. I am Morire Rabila Lawal. Now the news in details. The appeal court sitting in Abuja on Friday set aside the judgment of the Osun State Election Tribunal that annulled the victory of Ademola Adeleke of the People's Democratic Party during the July 16, 2022 Osun State governorship election. The Osun Tribunal had annulled Adeleke's victory and affirmed Gboyega Oyetola of All Progressive Congress APC as the authentic winner of the poll. The information report that the Independent National Electoral Commission had returned Adeleke as the winner of the poll. INEC said Adeleke polled 403,371 votes to defeat then incumbent Governor Gboyega Oyetola of the APC, who got 375,027 votes. But Oyetola and the APC rejected the result of the poll and headed for the tribunal. In its January 27, 2023 majority verdict, the Justice Dase Kume-led tribunal annulled Adeleke's victory and declared Oyetola the winner of the poll. This pleased Adeleke and the PDP headed for the Court of Appeal. The Court of Appeal heard the appeal on March 13th and reserved its judgment. But the Court of Appeal on Friday set aside the tribunal judgment. Meanwhile, the court proceeded on a 5-minute break and will deliver its final judgment after its reconveyance. To the next story. The Presidential Election Petition Court, PEPC, has granted a request by Atiku Abubakar of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Peter Obi of the Labour Party, LP, and the Allied People's Movement, APM, for permission to serve their petitions of Bola Tinubu, Kashim Shettima, and Kabir Masari, though the All Progressive Congress, APC. On Friday, a 3-member panel presided over by Justice Aruna Tsamani granted the request in 3 rulings on the 3 ex parte motions filed by the Atiku and PDP, OB, LP, and APM. In their motion, which was argued by Eitayo Jegede San, Atiku and the PDP sought to leave to serve Tinubu with a petition and other accompanying processes through APC. OB and LP had sought in their motion, argued by Ikechukwu Ezechukwu San, sought leave to serve Tinubu and Shettima, though the APC. In its motion, argued Oyetola Atoyebi San, the APM sought leave to serve Tinubu, Shettima, and Masari through the APC. Going on to the next story. The Central Bank of Nigeria has confirmed the evacuation of banknotes from its vault to commercial banks across the country as part of a coordinated effort to ease the circulation of banknotes of various denominations. The CBN also directed all commercial banks to open for operation on Saturdays and Sundays. The Acting Director of Corporate Communications Department of the CBN, Dr. Isa Abdelmumini, disclosed this in Abuja on Friday, stating that a substantial amount of money in various denominations had been received by the commercial banks for onward circulation to their respective customers. According to him, the CBN had directed all banks to load their automated teller machines as well as conduct physical operations in the banking halls through the weekends. And to the next story. The federal government says the proposed national carrier, Nigeria Air, is to commence full operations before the end of the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari. The Minister of Aviation, Adi Sirika, made the revelation at an aviation stakeholders forum in Abuja on Thursday. Responding to a question on when exactly Nigeria Air will commence operations, the minister said, "Before the end of this administration, before May 29th, we will fly." He added that the federal government is leaving the aviation sector better than it met it, having achieved over 90% of the aviation sector roadmap. The minister also assured airline operators that issues of blocked funds will soon be confined to history, as it pleaded for the understanding of operators, saying the government is working to ensure that all blocked funds are released as soon as possible. And to the next story. The Nigeria National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, on Thursday said Nigerians have missed enormous infrastructure development due to the protracted fuel subsidy regime in the country. The NNPCL disclosed that the amount spent on fuel subsidy payment could provide 7,500 kilometers of a road network at 400 million naira per kilometer and 37 well-equipped 120-bed tertiary health centers at 32 billion naira per hospital annually. Lawal Musa, NNPC Senior Business Advisor to the GCEO, disclosed this in Abuja at the Joint National Association of Nigerian Students, Non-Civil Society Organizations Sensitization Workshop on the NNPCL station. The Mr. Musa, in presentation entitled Petroleum Industry Act, PIA, and the Nigerian economy, said the federal government spent as much as 4.8 trillion naira annually to fuel subsidy at the expense of the well-being of Nigerians. To the next story. The National Bureau of Statistics says the average price of 5 kg of cooking gas increased from 3,708.58 kobo in February 2022 to 4,657 kobo in February 2023. This is contained in the Bureau's Cooking Gas Price Watch for February 2023, released on Friday in Abuja. The report said the February price represented a 24.05% increase compared to what was obtained in February 2022. The report said on a month-on-month basis, the price rose by 0.26% from 4,588.75 naira recorded in January 2023 to 4,600.57 kobo in February 2023. On state profile analysis, the report showed that Kwara recorded the highest average price of 4,962.86 naira for refilling of a 5 kg cooking gas, followed by Adamawa at 4,914 naira and Niger State at 4,907.50 kobo. It said, on the other hand, Enugu recorded the lowest price of 4,179.41, followed by Rivers and Abia at 4,204.44 and 4,220. Going on to the next story. Gunmen suspected to be herdsmen on Thursday afternoon kidnapped one Bernard Omefure, son of a former police officer, Chief James Omefure, and another person on their way from Ubukuli village in Ecuador in Oviedo, northeast local government area of Edo State. The kidnappers, said to be about 5 in number and armed with guns, were said to have laid an ambush for the vehicle which was carrying palm produce when the incident happened. The truck driver was said to have escaped into the bush, as he was said to have jumped off the vehicle on sighting the kidnappers. The older Omefure told journalists Thursday evening that the incident happened in the afternoon. Going on to the next story. A Lagos State High Court sitting in Ikeja has sentenced 4 men to death by hanging for armed robbery and kidnapping of Mrs. Gloria Mole, the convict Ifeanyi Maduaka, Victor Chukwunonso, Obinna Nwako, and Richard Nwabweze are said to have committed the offenses on the 19th of November 2012 at about 8:30 a.m. They were arraigned on a 3-count charge bordering on conspiracy, armed robbery, and kidnapping on the 13th of July 2013, preferred against them by Lagos State, and remanded them in prison custody. Dr. Babajide Martins, the state's Director of Public Prosecution, told the court that the kidnapped victim, who was about to leave her house at 7 Unit Street, Ogudu, GRA area of Lagos. According to the prosecutor, the offenses committed are contrary to and punishable under Section 297, 285, bracket 2A, and 291 of the Criminal Law of Lagos State 2015. The victim was kidnapped on the 19th of November 2012 and was later released on the 22nd of November 2012 after her husband paid money of $70,000 US. Justice Lateef Lawal Akakpo on Thursday held that the prosecution was able to prove its case beyond a reasonable doubt and sentenced the defendant to 10 years for the first count of conspiracy. They are sentenced to death by hanging for the second count of armed robbery and sentenced to 21 years imprisonment for the third count of kidnapping, Justice Lateef held. Moving on to the foreign story. Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky on Thursday told European leaders that delays sending fighter jets and long-range extend the war after he paid a visit to the frontline southern region of Kherson. On the train home from the war-ravaged area, Zelensky gave an emotional account of what he had seen as he addressed a summit of his EU counterparts gathered in Brussels via video link, an EU official said. But while he welcomed a recent EU plan aimed at sending Kiev 1 million artillery shells, he kept up his demand for modern warplanes and missiles he believed will be more effective at pushing back Russian forces. His demands came after Oleksandr Zresky, commander of Ukraine's ground forces, said he planned to take advantage of the fact that Russian troops were exhausted near Bakhmut, the scene of the longest and bloodiest battle since the Russian invasion last year. To end the world news is the sports news. Super Falcons of Nigeria moved up to 42nd position in the latest FIFA Women's Ranking. The ranking was published on FIFA's official website. In Africa, the Falcons remain number 1, while Women's Africa Cup of Nations WAFCON champions South Africa are second. Africa's 2 other representatives at this year's Women's World Cup, Morocco and Zambia, moved up in the ranking. While Morocco are now 73rd, Zambia are now 77th on sports. Before we call it a wrap on the world news on BGI TV Current this hour, a quick major headlines. Appeal Court set aside Osun Tribunal judgments on Adeleke. Court okays Atiku Obi orders. Request to serve petitions on Tinubu President-elects. CBN confirms evacuation of banknotes to DMBs. We also brought to you Nigeria Air to begin operations before May 29. And on sport, Super Falcons move up in latest FIFA rankings. For more updates on YouTube, our handle is BGI TV Current. Kindly subscribe and click on the notification bell. Select option all to access our broadcast. For advert placement of your goods and services, coverage of events and functions, please dial the phone number streaming on the screen for advert placement only. Jumat Mufida to all faithful Muslims all around the world, and Ramadan Mubarak to all faithful Muslims all around the world. I am Morire Rabila Lawal. Good evening.
Oh, na, na, na. If you want to know what's going on in city, or you want to listen to the latest news and gist, no stress, oh, just tune to BGI TV. BGI TV, you're one in a million.